In this week's screencast, we'll be continuing the work we started last time by creating the CLI application called Racks, as well as packaging this application. Last time we stubbed out the setup.py and managed to install it using Python setup.develop in order to modify the code as we worked. This week we're focusing on publishing, packaging, as well as writing a few helpers to get the job done much easier in the future, as well as touching a little bit upon versioning, as well as how to install this locally and test out your package before you share it with everybody else. So the first question is, where does your code actually go when you push it? Like what actually happens? We know that to install it we use pip by using the name of the application, as we did last time with doc_opt and term color, but where does it actually go? It goes to the Python packaging index. Now this index lists all the packages that have been released today, for example, on its homepage, with different version numbers. And that's what happens when you actually end up pushing your code to PyPI. Now, how is this done? This is done through your setup.py, which we're going to discuss next. So in order to do this, there are a few steps. The final step being Python setup.py standard distribution upload. Now, the dist command to this function does the following. So for example, right now we have our package. We're going to call Python setup.py dist, and that'll cause for the package to be bundled up and to be put into a directory called dist. In this directory we have a tar. Now this tar, if we open it up, which is a combination of the name here with the version number. So let's open this up. So as you can see here, we have a folder called Racks, and then it has all the files that were contained in our package. So as you can see here, if we open it up, it has the egg info, which is the info that is carried with the package, as well as the source code, and a little bit of package info here, and the README. So if we were to then take a look, all it does is it collapses into a big tarball which contains the information, a little bit of information for the packaging index, as well as our source and our readmes. Now if we wanted to add more things like documentation and other things, we would create a file in our root directory called manifest.n. And in this file we would then add things to add. So we'd go include star.text. If we had text files that we wanted to include from the local things, for example like notes or release changes and stuff like that, they would all be there, as well as a recursive include for things like documentation, if we wanted to put that together in our package, our final delivery package. Since our package really doesn't need any of that stuff, we're just gonna delete it. But if you need to, that's where you'd put it, and then when you run Python setup.py dist, it would collapse that all into a package, as we saw in the dist folder here, and then it would be contained alongside Racks here, much like it is in your source repository. Now, in order to test before you actually end up uploading to the end user, what you need to make sure is that your package actually does work. So to show you how that will work, we simply need to go outside here and run a simple HTTP server on the outside here. Well, we got running back here, so let's just kill that one and terminate. Let's do it again from scratch here. So we have it running on port 8000 now. So if we go to 127.0.0.1 slash, well, we want the port 8000. So as you can see here, we have the tar here. So let's quickly remove these two files that are here. To remove those two files, let's get this running again. So as you can see, it simply lists whatever is in the directory in which it was run. We ran it from the dist directory, so which contains the racks. Now let's simply start up another. So we're going to work on racks. We're going to go pip freeze to make sure we don't have it actually installed. We actually don't, so that's good. Next we do pip. So I ran this before, but we do pip install. We specify the target to our particular file. Now this exercise is to simply make sure that your package actually installs in a clean environment. So just to be really anal about this, let's pip uninstall doc.opt and term color, which are the two packages that that racks depends on. So let's go ahead and uninstall those. Missed the N there, so we're gonna uninstall here. Yes, yes. So as you can see, it contains nothing that our application currently depends on, so they should be installed when we install racks from pip here. Which we're simply saying install this thing. Awesome. So it installed. No, pip freeze. It installed both doc.opt, term color, and racks. So now when we go out to the directory here and simply go racks 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 4. Nope. Oh, we put commas in between. Cannot accept that, but as you can see, it did install effectively. Nope. And there you go, it simply works. So now we know that when people go and install our package, it'll install without any of the previous dependencies installed, and we are now safe to push this particular package up to PyPI. But before we do that, let's talk for a moment about versioning. So as you can see here, our version is inside, our version number for our package is inside the init.py. And then in our setup.py, I simply pull that in and convert it to a string and then do a join on the dots. So what do these version numbers mean? The first number is the major number, second number is the minor number, and the final number is the micro number. Seeing that this is a new package and it was still in development, it was set to 001. Now since we are actually releasing a version, I'm going to bump up the minor number up to 5. Or rather, let's bump this one all the way up to 1. Since it's a final application, the API isn't going to change. That means it's stable and the API is solidified. And in this case, all we're saying is that we'll accept a list of numbers from the terminal and we'll move from there. And that is basic functionality, that won't change in the future. So let's leave it at that. So let's bump up our version to 1. So moving forward in the future, any bug fixes that may come in will update the micro version. Any new features or improvements to the application will bump up the minor number here, and any API breaking changes or a revision of the whole application will bump the major number. This signifies to developers an easy way to look at the version while still understanding what these versions mean. You bump them accordingly, but we can iterate on this number as many times as we need to. This is what developers call semantic versioning. So it's a way of versioning that everyone understands and is clear of. So let's get to actually sharing our application. Before you actually upload your distribution or your package to PyPI, you need to make sure that the name of your application is available. For example, if I tried to create a package named Django and upload it to PyPI, it would simply reject me. Now, in order to check to see if your package exists on PyPI, you simply need to check this: pypi.python.org/pypi, then the name of your project. I've went ahead and already checked to see if Racks is available, and it is, but all you do is type in some project to see if your project is available. If it says not found, that means the name is available, and therefore you can register the name to your account. So let's go ahead and register Racks. So to do that, we go simply Python setup.py register. Since I've already logged into PyPI, it registered it. Now it has written a little bit of manifest files in the source. It's running the check. It has registered to PyPI. Now the upload command is something that I often forget. So when we decide to finally upload our package, we simply run python setup.py standard dist upload. That'll do two things. It will package up our application like we discussed earlier, and it will upload it to PyPI. This will only work after you have run the register command. Now, seeing as our setup.py is simply Python, we can simply call this through an application. So in this case, we check to see if the first argument to setup.py is published. If so, we call the publish method, which simply does an operating system call to python setup.py sdist upload. This is the same command you would do an improvement. So let's say we were to save one version, and then we were to iterate it. Oh, sorry there. We iterate it to version 20. We fixed 20 bugs. Then we just simply run the same command. So this is a nice convenience method you can put into your setup.py, which will let you do a simple upload to PyPI. So let's use that to do it here. So setup.py, python setup.py, publish. And since we have this line here at the bottom, it didn't work. Got rid of that. Let's get this, give it a new line down here. Run it again. It's submitting our standard dist racks version 1 to PyPI. Now let's give this a look. Racks is our application. And there you have it. You have our excerpt from our README, the racks application with an MD5 hash, the data was uploaded on, number of downloads is clearly 0, and my name, the link to the repository, and all other pertinent information for all the categories when browsing. So this is an end-to-end version of uploading your package to PyPI and sharing it with others. This concludes our screencast on PyPI and package distribution.